I get asked very frequently, actually, what is it that you do? Effectively, people want to understand the how, and I totally get that. I totally appreciate that. So what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to vomit a load of words out now and hope that some of it sticks or goes in. The easiest thing for me to do is to just take to the whiteboard here and actually draw out a couple of curves and walk you through what it is I do. And hopefully it creates a little bit of context as well, yeah? So what I've observed is for businesses that are doing anywhere between about 250k right up to 6 million per annum, and this is sort of like revenue or turnover, whatever sort of metrics they want to use, you can usually do a couple of plots. Now, the first one is really simple plot. You've just got clients on the y-axis, and then you've got revenue spread on the x-axis, and you've obviously got low here, high here. Now, if we're to plot out what this looks like, what we're going to see is, we draw a trend line through it, it's going to be like a bell curve, yeah? None of this is rocket science, none of this is like massively new information. Most people that have a basic bookkeeping or accounts function are going to be able to see that that's the case. So it is important to do this because it tees us up to basically redraw this in a slightly different way. So what we can do is we can, again, let's get another plot out. This time we got number of clients here on the x-axis. We've got down here clients by spend, yeah, so slightly different. So if we start to plot out what that looks like, and again draw a trend line through it, you've got this going on. What does this actually mean? Like, what's the purpose of me showing you this? Well, this is the bit now. So these two clients out here are these two here. So what we're actually saying is, if we look at this section here, we're saying that 60 to 80% of all revenue is coming from 5 to 10% of clients. Yeah. So this is a risk. Here's why it's a risk. What happens if you lose one? Do you lose a quarter, a third, half of your business overnight? Personally, I see this as a huge risk. So we're actually in the game of risk mitigation. But whilst we're in the game of risk mitigation, why don't we seek to increase your revenue and profitability at the same time? We may as well tackle both if we can. So back to the question, what is it that you do? Back up to the top curve again. What I do is I help you do this. Follow this dotted line. I help you flatten this bell curve at the top. Yeah. So all of these shaded areas, those represent the opportunity for us to grow and minimize risk. So there's two approaches, or two strategies really. Strategy number one is called mining the customer perspective, and we'll just put CP for short. Now, what mining the customer perspective means is there's already people in your world, here, and a couple of big spenders here. There's a couple of really crucial things going on. They already have trust, and they already have confidence in you. So what we want to do is we want to go and understand the customer perspective of why do they keep giving you money? Let's be honest. The question is, Why does somebody keep giving me money? If you can understand that and get really clear on that and get better at that, like, it's going to benefit you in terms of, number one, getting even more money from people that already give you money. But number two, people over here that either don't give you any money or a really low amount, it's going to help you grow them into this curve. So we start with people that we know. So what we want to do is we go and effectively interview and talk to people that give us money already. This is sometimes known as account management, but I generally see it done really, really badly. Yeah, because account management done badly goes in once a month and says, what are the problems? What do we need to fix? And they go away and fix it. What they should be doing is going in and asking, what is it that we're doing really well? What could we be doing even better? Can you help me understand how this is having an impact in your business? How is this making your day-to-day life in business and your non-business life better? Those are the sort of things it's the type of questioning that we encourage, and it all falls within the remit of this mining the customer perspective. So that's strategy number one. Now, as we do that, you'll be very, very shocked and surprised at the answers that existing clients give you back. Really shocked. So the reason why you think they keep giving you money, it might be right. I'm not saying that you're wrong, it might be right. But the additional reasons that they give that you've not even considered, well, quite frankly, they're going to blow your mind. Because all of that stuff is gold dust for you in terms of how you position and go and adjust your messaging in your business. And ultimately, that's what you need to do to grow. You need to change. So all improvement comes from change. Yeah. So we've done this, and this is where we start. Shortly after we do this, we then come over here. It's going to get a little bit cramped on the paper, but bear with me. The second strategy we just call it new horses. So we want to put some new horses in the race. What we want to do is put 6, 7, 8 horses in the race here, knowing that some of them are going to migrate upwards and ultimately make the way over. Yeah? But crucially, we're using the information that we've gathered, mined here, to empower and drive this strategy here. This hopefully answers the question, what is it that you do? This is what I do. Everything that I do in your business starts here. There's clearly analytics, there's measurement, there's baselining to be done. Once we get clarity on what this is, then we move towards the two strategies. Yeah, so I also get asked quite frequently, like, why is this important? Which is also a great question. So, like, my belief is that this is really important because this is de-risking your existing portfolio of clients, your existing revenue streams, de-risking your pipeline in the face of economic uncertainty. I mean, let's take the most obvious recent event that nobody's seen coming in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, COVID. So some of the clients I worked with around that time, they had huge accounts that were exactly like I've drawn out here, 60 to 80% revenue coming from those accounts. COVID hits, the taps get turned off in one of these, two of these. Immediately the business is put under extreme pressure because its revenue is collapsing down by 30, 40, 50% in some instances. So it's crucial, number one, to have an awareness that this is at play. And by the way, it's totally fine and it's not your fault that this is at play, because we're going to cover that in a minute. There's 4 real reasons why we've got to this point. But the second thing to really consider and think about is, how can we just constantly have a level of control, a level of influence over this? I can tell you that if you're operating in 250k to 6 million in the engineering and manufacturing and tech space, it absolutely will apply to you. If you want to try and prove me wrong, please go for it. I'd love to have a conversation. This is going to be at play in some form. The numbers may not be as high here, but you will see a skew, okay? So My belief is that there's four main reasons why this is happening. So we'll just take another sheet to walk you through. So the first reason is procurement. Or we can just make it really simple, prospects as well. So you might be thinking, well, what do you mean procurement? So if you're involved in any sales scenario where there is a purchasing department, procurement, or somebody that is incentivized and motivated to lower the price that they pay for your goods or your services, their job effectively is to create uncertainty in you. Yeah. So the job of procurement and the purchasing department and any prospect really that tackles you and wants to negotiate and talk about price is to create uncertainty. Okay, so unless you are well positioned in your business, you truly know without a shadow of a doubt how much value you're bringing to the game in terms of the problem that you solve for the client. And in the context of that, what your fee is and what you're willing to effectively sell and exchange money for, and what you're not willing to go below. Unless that's set out and really, really clear, you're constantly at risk of uncertainty coming in. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, a lot of people are going to be able to relate to this. It's the whirlwind of the day job. So if you're a solopreneur, solo business owner, even if you're a head of department or a head of sales, whatever it might be, the whirlwind and the chaos of the day job is, i.e., you've not done or you've not developed an appreciation that the operations side of your business, specific to sales and business development, needs to be separated out from the innovation, management, and tracking side. So what happens is this whirlwind of the day job means that you're in a constant state of pressure, of stress. There's things that need to be done. Stuff needs to go out to the door. You need to ship that to your customer. You need to receive this in from your supplier. You need to engineer a fix for that. You need to go and do an interview. You need to run payroll, whatever it might be. So the whirlwind of the day job effectively distracts you from what we had on the last flip chart, okay? Third reason, it's accountability. More specifically, there's a lack of accountability. Okay, so there's in that sector that I talked about, the 250k to 6 million, as far as I can see, and I guess the reason why I have a job doing what I do is that there's nobody actually going in and shining a light, illuminating what's going on. So that means that there's no accountability around like what the performance is in terms of what's our risk ratio, what's our risk portfolio look like on our revenue streams, what are we doing to bring more people online, what are we doing to mitigate the risk of our big spenders, all that sort of stuff. So with a lack of accountability, that means that it pretty much it's not going to be revisited on a regular basis. Now, I'd go one step further and I would say, like, to get this right, you actually want to seek accountability from a perspective or a viewpoint that isn't your own. And the reason I say that's really simple. Your own viewpoint is going to be somewhat skewed and subjective based on this going on up here. Okay? So there is a fourth reason as well. Okay? And this applies very much to engineer and manufacturing businesses where the owner or founder has had a fairly successful career in a previous job and they've then decided to go out and start a business for themselves. And it's basically what I call the push-pull reason. So what I mean by the push-pull reason, you've had a very successful career. You've maybe done 10, 15, 20 years in the industry. You've got really good at what you do. And you've decided to take the next ambitious step, which is you're going to go out on your own because you know that you can do a better job than the current employer that you have. So you step out of the world of employment, you start your business, yeah? But think about everything that you've done to get to that point. It's all come from a push nature. What I mean by that is, let's go back as early as your education. So you pushed yourself to get good grades in school. You pushed yourself to get a really top degree in university. You pushed yourself to get that graduate role in the company, the dream company that you wanted. You pushed yourself to get the promotions, work on the big projects. You've pushed yourself right up to the point now where you're convinced that it's the right time to step out and do it by yourself. Yeah. What happens then as soon as you step out and start doing it by yourself and you get your first 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 clients, you start to then experience pull. Because what's going on is those clients are saying, yeah, we really like the idea. We love that you've went out on your own, Mark. We want to start doing business and buying from you. Can we have a certain quantity of X, a certain quantity of Y? Oh, we need it in this time scale. We need it there. We need it in this flavor. Can you change this? Can you do that? And all of a sudden, pull effect starts to happen. You've got key, and these are stakeholders as well. You got to remember these clients are key stakeholders in the early phases of building your business. But the energy is all now pull. This is all pull energy. And if you're not careful, the pull energy becomes so much and so high that you've actually reverted back to having a job, but you just don't have any of the benefits of being in an employed position. So that push-pull thing is really important to be aware of. And that's a big mindset thing as well. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but that's the push-pull. Those are the 4 reasons as to why I believe we end up with that scenario. So what I also then tend to get asked is, given the 4 reasons here, how does this specifically impact or like become a lived experience that translates into sort of like behaviors, emotions, actions, etc. Within sort of an engineer or a very technical person that we're talking about here. So there's a couple of reasons for that. These are my own personal observations. So let's just draw a line under here because there's a couple of key things. So number 1, engineers absolutely hate being told no. Absolutely hate this. And I can tell you that's true because I hate it as well. Absolutely hate it. The second thing to be aware of is, and this is actually really a key one if your aspiration as a business owner is to like grow the business, expand the team, go into different markets, whatever your objective or whatever your goal might be. Engineers also hate losing on a constant basis. Absolutely hate losing. So this is why these things are so key that we become aware of, because like the analogy for this one at the bottom, the hate losing, is this is like the football analogy is like, you know, you're turning up as a player every week and you're getting absolutely battered every match you play. The group of people you're within and your heads are just down. People love to win. You know, it's no different outside of the engineering archetype, but I've seen it flare up the most here. And you got to remember as well, engineers hate being told no, because usually anything that they turn their hands to turns to gold. So, you know, what I'm not going to cover here, but it's probably the next obvious topic that we segue into, is the engineering superego and how that relates to everything that we've talked about